Hello everyone, welcome back. In this video, we are going to discuss one more example of polyfill. In the previous video, we discussed two examples of polyfill. We created a polyfill of map and filter function. In this video, we will discuss one more example, which will be a little bit advanced. So we are going to create a polyfill of Promise.All function. So let's see how we will do it. Okay, so let's create a new file over here. I'll give it name Polyfill for Promise.All. Okay. So first of all, let me show you how Promise.All works, and then I'll create my own polyfill function for it. So I hope you all are familiar with promises, right? If you're not, I'll link the video URL in the description as well. I made a video on promises, which you can see and understand what are promises and how we create promises in JavaScript, right? So let me create a simple function. Its name will be print and it will take two parameters. First will be message and second will be time. So this function, what it will do is it will return us a promise, and that promise will perform some asynchronous operation. So in our case, what we will do, we will call set timeout to basically print out this message after a certain interval of time, which we are taking as a parameter. Okay, so let's call. So from here, I will be returning a promise. So you can write return new promise. And this will take callback function, which takes two parameters, resolve and reject. And here I'll just simply write set timeout, and I just want to log the message to the console after certain interval of time. Okay, and also we don't want to log it, we just want to send it to the resolve function. Okay, so let me create one array, and that array will contain promises. So basically Promise.All function, what it does is it takes the array of promises and it performs all the promise functions and then returns us the cumulative results, right? And if any promise fails, it will not return us the results. It will return us the results till when it is succeeded, right? So basically, let's say you have three promises and second promise fails, so it will only show you the first promise and the error one, right? It will not show you the last one because it will not have executed it, right? So let's create one array over here. Its name will be const array, and let's create three promises function inside it. So you can pass print, and then you can pass any message, let's say hello, and let's give time 1000 milliseconds. Similarly, let's take one more function. You can write hi, and you can pass the time 2000 milliseconds, and similarly you can write let's say what are you doing. Let's give time 3000. Okay, so here, as you can see, I've created an array of promises. Now what I'll do is I'll call promise dot all, which basically expects the array of promises. So you can pass this array, and after we have done this, it returns us a new promise. So therefore you can use dot then, and after all promises are executed, you'll get a cumulative results inside some parameter. You can give it any name. So I've given it results, and after getting the cumulative results, whatever you want to do with those results, you can do, right? So let's say I just want to log it to the console. So I'll just simply write got results, and you can print out the results. And similarly, if any promise fails, you can just simply catch the error, and if you want to do something with the error, you can do that. So right now I'm just logging it to the console. Okay, so let me just run this function, run this program, and let's see what happens. So what do you think what will happen? So basically what will happen is it will perform all these promises that are in this array, and then it will accumulate all the results inside this parameter, and it will log it to the console. So let's run this program and let's see what is happening. Polyfill, yeah. So it will return us got results and then all the results after executing those promises. So in this video, we will create a polyfill function of our own for this Promise.All. Okay, so let me just write my own polyfill function. So I will give it name my polyfill for Promise.All. Okay, or you can give it simple name only, polyfill for Promise.All. Okay, so right now this function is not created. We will create this function. So what you can do is you can go down and you can say const polyfill for Promise.All, and this will be array, right? And this array will take what? As you can see, we pass the array of promises. So you can give it any name. I'll give it name, let's say promise list. So what I will do is, as you can see, like internally, what does it do? It loops over all the promises, right? And it executes that one by one. So basically we will do that. And also we want one array which will accumulate all those results. So you can give it, so let's take one results array which will accumulate all the results. Let's take one counter as well, which will keep record of how many promises are completed. So you can write let promises completed. So initially it will be 0. Now what we want to do is we want to return a new promise. Why? Because when we use Promise.All and when we execute all those promises, it basically returns us a new promise. And that's why we were able to use this dot then and dot catch, right? So that's why we will return a new promise over here. And obviously it will take two parameters, resolve and reject. And inside it, what I'll do is I'll simply loop over all the promises result. Sorry, I will loop over all the promise list array that I have over here. So you can write promise list dot for each, and I'll loop over all the promise and I'll just simply execute it. So you can write promise dot then, and after I've got the result, I'll just simply push it to my results array. So you can also take inside for each the index as well. So in that index you can put the result. So you can write results index equal to result. And if let's say you get any error, we just directly want to reject it. We don't want to perform any other promises that are present in the list, right? We just want to break the code over here and we will just reject the error, right? And here we will also increment our promise completed increment. So you can write promises completed plus equals to 1. And we also want to check if all promises are completed. We will just simply, return the results array from this. So you can write if promises completed equal to promise list dot length. What we want to do is we just simply want to resolve the results array, the final results array, right? So yeah, I've created my own polyfill function of the Promise.All. So you can see what I'm doing is, so this function will take promises array, right? And I'm taking one results array in which I'll put all my results. I'm taking one increment as well, increment variable, in which I'll keep a counter, like how many promises are completed. So this function will return us a new promise, and that promise will perform all these steps. Like it will loop over the promises list array and it will execute one by one all the promises. And after each and every promise is executed, it will put their individual results in the results array. And when all the promises are completed, we'll just simply return the final results, the final cumulative results array. Okay, so I hope this is clear. Now let me just execute this. So here, as you can see, I'm not using Promise.All. I'm using my own polyfill function which I created. So I can run this. So you can write node and then file name. So let's see whether it is working correctly or not. So yeah, as you can see, we got exactly the same output which we were getting earlier when we were using Promise.All. So let's see whether we are also able to catch the error or not. So I'll change one code over here. I'll write if time is less than 2000, I'll reject by saying that it is rejected. Okay, else I'll just simply perform this asynchronous operation. So let's see whether I'm able to catch the error or not. So you can just simply execute this, and as you can see, no promises were executed. Like this one will be executed, right? But this one will not execute because I've written time is less than 2000. So all the promises in which I'm passing the time less than 2000, they will not be executed, right? So yeah, So as you can see, in my first function only it got rejected, and these other, they will not get executed and you will not see the results. So in this way you can create a polyfill of Promise.All, and this question is most of the times asked in interviews. So I hope you now understand how you can create polyfills of various functionality. It's pretty simple. So basically you just need to know. So let's say your interviewer can give you any function, like he can give you to create polyfill of any function. It's just that you should know the basic function, like you should know the function, like what it does. Like in this video I was creating polyfill of Promise.All. So before creating polyfill, you should know how Promise.All actually works. Then only you can create a polyfill. If you don't know how Promise.All works, you will not be able to create a polyfill, right? Because I knew that Promise.All, it takes a promises array and then it loops over all the promises and then it executes all the promises, right? That's what I did in the polyfill function as well, right? So before creating polyfill, you should know what exactly that function does. Then only you will be able to create a polyfill. So in this way, interview can ask you to create any polyfill. So I hope from this video and from the previous video, you now understand what are polyfills and how you can create a polyfill in JavaScript. So yeah, thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you like this video. Yeah, see you in the next video.